After years of volatility, experts say they are expecting the housing market to stabilize into the new year, but it's not going to happen overnight. And as Raya Katene reports, there are a lot of variables at play.
Holiday lights and wreaths dot this Minneapolis neighborhood. So too does the occasional for sale sign.
Because it is between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we have seen it slow down.
A typical slowdown in the housing market as snow blankets our streets has Minnesota's real estate industry looking ahead to the spring when the cold begins to move out and business typically begins to boom.
We're very optimistic that we're going to have another really strong spring.
Jennifer Livingston leads the St. Paul Area Association of Realtors. She'll be watching closely this week as the Federal Reserve announces its final interest rate decision of the year. But she says the monthly payment amount is what most buyers are now prioritizing.
They've kind of gotten over that waiting for the interest rates to come down to 3%. I think that has more stabilized. We're more in the high fives, low sixes, and I think that's more of the norm that people are getting used to.
According to data from the Minnesota and Twin Cities Realtor Associations, the median home price in Minnesota was $351,000 in October after hitting a record high of $370,000 this summer.
But there is a lot of buyer anxiety out there.
While market predictions can be difficult, Brian Durham with Realty Group LPT says we'll likely see a steady, plodding market next year, with Minnesota historically avoiding the dramatic swings seen in states like Florida. Even as inventory remains low, he says affordability challenges are driven not just by home prices, but also rising insurance premiums and increasing property taxes.
The important thing to remember is you can't time the market. One of the sayings in real estate is time in market. It's not timing the market. Again, if you're comfortable with the payment and you can buy.
A new report from the real estate website Zillow says, according to their metrics, over the past year, more than half of homes across the country have lost value, and Minneapolis is no exception to that, Julie.
Which is a little alarming, and also a statistic we were talking about before the show, the average age of a first-time home buyer.
Yeah, now up to 40 years old, the first time in history. That's coming from the National Association of Realtors. And I spoke to Julie, from Jennifer, who we heard from in the story there, and she says that's because of affordability. A lot of people simply are waiting, they're being patient because they cannot afford to buy a home.
All right, thank you, Raya.